Hello and welcome to Entirely English. We are continuing our adventures into exploring idioms in the English language that originated from the Royal Navy. We are looking at idioms beginning with S. And our first one is a phrase. It's not such an idiom as a comic phrase. We say, shiver me timbers. Shiver me timbers. This phrase was made popular in the old, I think it was 1958 film of Treasure Island.
Why, shiver my timbers,
Let's look at the words. Shiver is like to shake, like when you're cold or frightened. Me is a regional way of saying my, and timbers referred to the ship because all the ship was made of wood, as you know. So shiver me timbers meant to shake my ship, shake it so much to destruction. Not a good thing to say, you might think, but it's like when a ballet dancer is going to go on stage. People say, break a leg. Why would they say that? Are they wishing disaster on somebody? No. When you wish for the worst thing to happen, it won't happen. That's the theory. When you wish for something, it doesn't happen. So saying to somebody, break a leg, it's saying good luck, basically. And you're not allowed to say good luck in the theatre. Same with test pilots. The phrase test pilots say to each other is crash and burn. You're testing the Mark 1? Crash and burn. And it's like saying good luck. But if you say good luck, you might get bad luck. Wish the worst and the best happens. Therefore, people on ships would say this phrase to wish the worst. Shiver me timbers. May God shake my ship so much that it is destroyed. Now, many people claim this phrase is just from fiction, that it never really existed in the Navy. But it was first recorded in literature by Captain Frederick Marryat, a Navy captain and a writer. And in his 1775 book, Jacob Faithful, he used that phrase. The sailors would say it. We can presume that he was using a phrase which he had heard in his voyages. So shiver me timbers, as I say, it's not really an idiom, but it is something that we can say as a laugh, or if you're pretending to be a pirate, playing the role of Long John Silver or Captain Barbossa. Shiver me timbers. It's a bit like Ron Weasley in Harry Potter saying, bloody hell. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first one. Our next one is a square meal. Square meal. This did not mean that all the potatoes were cut into cubes or that things were placed on the plate in a square pattern. Square meal was what sailors were promised when they joined the Navy. Now, it might seem strange, considering what we said about press gangs in our previous videos, but a lot of people did volunteer to join the Navy. It was a good career. It was a way to explore the world. It paid good money, and you got to bring wonderful things back for your family. Strange, exotic things like bananas. So people joined the Navy, and they were promised a salary, they were promised experience, and they were promised 3 square meals a day. Now, why square meals? Have a look at this picture. This is a picture of a plate from Nelson's ship. And you can see they were wooden and they were square. 2 reasons for that. One is that being wood, if they fell, you drop them, or they fell off the shelf in a stormy sea, they wouldn't shatter. And the other is, again, because of the swaying of the boat, plate would be stacked. And as it's square, it would sit like a book, like books on a shelf. If they were round, they would roll off. So square plates were the square meals. And this is often used today in things like joining the Navy, joining the Army. They promise you square meals. If you go to university, your mum might say to you, oh, come home for the summer holidays. You'll get 3 square meals and I'll do all your laundry. Our next one is scuttlebutt. You might have heard this phrase. It's still quite often used. And it just means gossip, really. people would say, what's the scuttlebutt? What is the gossip? Where did it come from? In those ships, they were at sea for months on end, they needed fresh water. Again, we've discussed this before. So they had barrels and barrels of fresh water down in the hold of the ship, and they'd bring one up to the deck, and people would help themselves to water during the day, go and get a cup of water, drink it, and then continue with their duties. Scuttle means to break something. So when a ship was scuttled, it was driven onto the rocks. Sometimes a captain would scuttle a ship on purpose to stop it being captured. So he'd ram it into rocks and cause it to sink, or break the planks of the hold so that the ship would fill with water and sink, to scuttle it. So it's breaking the wood. And a butt is another word for a keg or a barrel. So scuttlebutt was this water barrel that they had opened. In the later years, they didn't just break the top open. They had special barrels, like in this picture, which had a hatch in it. But still, scuttle meant to open it. So why does scuttlebutt mean gossip? It's because this is where people would gather. One sailor would go and get a cup of water, another one would go over and join him and have a cup of water, and they'd stand there and they'd talk about things, gossip, talk about their families and so forth. I think in America these days they call it a water cooler moment. So when people in the office gather around the water cooler to get water and they have a little chat, or when you go into the kitchen area of your office or workplace, you're making a coffee or a cup of tea, somebody else comes in and you spend some time chatting before you return to your duties. So then you're gossiping about things. So what's the scuttlebutt about this merger? Oh, apparently Thomsons are not going to do it now. I'll do one last one. I'll do another video in the next couple of days with the second part of S, and any that I can't fit on I will put in the description underneath that video. So the last word we're going to do today is scupper. Scupper forms idioms to scupper something. So first of all, we look at the word scupper. On the ships, they had the deck, the top part where people walked, and along the side of the deck there was like a wooden wall, a sort of fence, obviously stop people and things falling overboard. The trouble with that is when large waves were crashing over the ship, with the wall there, the water would accumulate and then go into the hold, and then eventually the ship would fill with water and sink. So what they did was they had holes in the wall for the water to flow out of. Wave comes in and the water goes out, but the wall's still there to protect you. Those were the scuppers, to let the water out. To scupper a ship was to damage it, destroy it, to cause it a problem, like running it onto the rocks again, or to beach it, like get it stuck on a sandbar. That's an area of sand in the sea that's high and the ship couldn't see it and get stuck. So it's scuppered. It's when the thing has been stopped or damaged. You could scupper your own ship, a bit like we just had with scuttle. And we use it these days quite often to scupper something. To go back to our previous example, what's happening with the merger? Oh, Thomsons are pulled out. Merryweather's scuppered the plans. What happened? Oh, Merryweather came in and they bought all the shares so that nobody could merge with us. They scuppered the plans. They destroyed those plans. Scupper often goes with plans, but it can be with other things as well. He scuppered my business. She scuppered our holiday. She lost the passports on the way to the airport. Shiver my timbers, that was an interesting video. I hope you found that interesting. As I say, I'll try to get part 2 up in the next day or two. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.